Hello everyone, Mege here, and once again thanks to Ubisoft I was given early access to the upcoming hero, the Pirate, which you can see right now on the screen, and by the time this video releases I believe she will be coming out very soon. As you can see, I've already built up my edgy look for my Pirate, but that's gonna be a separate video where I'm gonna cover my fashion options. This video I want to talk about the overall hero, how I feel about it, and my very early of course, impressions. So first of all, as you can see here, she's part of the new faction, the Outlanders, alongside, the existing original tree and the Vulin. I believe this faction is gonna kind of group together concepts which can't quite fit into the other factions and are not strong enough to stand on their own. Like, I don't expect the two upcoming heroes for the Outlanders to be related to pirates at all, for example. I honestly think this is great, gives the developers a lot of creative freedom without having to, find a way to slot the new character, the new hero, into a pre-existing faction, which sometimes can be a little hard. For example, if you want to make an Aztec, how do you even say that? But a tribal warrior from the Aztec Empire into the game, where would you put him? There is no faction where he would fit into, and you might have enough, let's say, creative input to make one character with that template, with that fantasy, but making like 3, 4 for a whole faction, that's a different story. I will say, however, that it is a little weird to me that we have different amount of heroes, a different number of heroes for the 3 original factions. I can understand Volins because they came afterwards, of course, but Knights, Vikings and Samurais have different number of heroes, which it's a little weird of a choice, I guess. Moving on to the character itself, I won't speak too much of the customization options. What I will say is that I am, once again, disappointed that there is no gender selection here. I understand, of course, that a whole different gender requires, I wouldn't think much modeling, but to be sure a different voice actor come in and do all the lines, so I guess that's one of the reasons, but it's not something I'm surprised about, to be honest, since the past, 4 heroes have been gender locked. What I want to touch upon very briefly is that, for example, some of the emotes, for example guns blazing here, the sound is out of sync with the shooting, unless I'm mistaken, but I think you can tell. Seems like the shots come too early compared to the the pushback, the knockback of the weapon. But this is minor, I'm sure it's very easy to fix. And speaking of that emote, by the way, I'm not sure if you can tell, but the last shot leaves a cool puff of smoke. It's pretty cool. And something about the animation still is that some of her attacks, especially top heavy, this one, feels a little slow considering the weapon she has in her hand. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it feels a little off to me, like the weapon seems light enough, but she swings it as if it's so heavy, you see? But do not get me wrong, I really like this character. I'm just highlighting some things that don't sit too well with me, because I think that makes for better discussion. But I also really like the character, and I'm gonna talk about that too. And hey, it's the first time we have guns in For Honor. How cool is that? I like the implementation overall. I'm glad they didn't do something like Shinobi, where they tried to just fundamentally change how the game works by having him, having him fight from a distance. In this case, the gun, with the exception of feats, which I'm gonna touch upon later, cannot be used at a distance. It's only used, I mean, you will see the warriors then, but just to give you a quick refresher, it's basically used after heavy attacks. So you can do it here, it's guaranteed, kind of like, PK's bleed, just 5 damage, or you can do it after a blocked heavy attack, and it becomes an unblockable, let's say, grab, which deals 14 damage instead. Her chains are pretty standard. She has any combination of 2 attacks, so light, heavy, the 4 combinations, which I think makes for interesting mix-ups, because her finishing lights are undodgeable, as you can see here, and her finishing heavies are uninterruptible. They have armor. She also has dodge attacks on the side. This one cannot be feinted, but it's a heavy parry. Deals 10 damage, of course, chains into her stuff. And she also has a forward dodge attack. She's a little more worrying to me, to be honest. It's unblockable, first of all. Right? Deals 14 damage, which is decent for the speed, I think. Leads into stuff, obviously. I think it's also chain starter, so you can do this, for example. Can be hard feinted or can be soft feinted into guard break. I don't know about the second part, to be honest. Seems a little over the top, but then again, I don't play this game nearly as much these days, so take anything I say balance-wise with a grain of salt, to be honest. Hurt zone is pretty standard, does not chain into gun, but otherwise it is considered a chain starter for other attacks. One more thing I want to talk about is walk the plank. It's this attack you can do after any attack. You can also do it after a pistol shot, for example. You can also do it after a whiff. And it deals by itself 30 damage, alright? You can follow it up with a gunshot for 35 guaranteed damage. You can dodge out of it, for example in teamfight, if you need to, you know, where I see this shining is you do this on an opponent, right? It's a pretty lengthy time they're stunned. So in ganks, in 4v4, this seems crazy strong. And if you need to, like compared to Riders, Stampede Charge or Lawbringer's Impale, you might, you know, get someone, but then their ally comes and gets you. You can dodge out of these fairly soon. Fairly soon. It's a cancel. Like, I'm not just dodging on recovery. You cancel the recovery with that dodge. And by the way, something I didn't mention is she can cancel any recoveries she has with a dodge. Which is a little extra, I guess, but I don't know why. Also, if you don't press anything, or I think if you press light or heavy, she does this little pushback, which wall splits. So this means you can get something like this. For 52 damage on an unblockable heavy, which is pretty crazy to me. And to top this already powerful move off, you can soft feint it into a guard break. Insane. Insane, to be honest. We'll see how this plays out. Again, I'm no expert at all. But I feel like this is gonna make her pretty strong in 4v4 alongside something else we're gonna talk about now, feats. So the amazing thing they did with feats is they allowed them to work within a regular moveset. You can use any of her 4 feats, 2 bombs, sorry, just the original feats, I believe. 2 bombs, 2 pistol shots, with different properties, of course. You can use them as chain starters, or in the middle of chains instead of pistol shots, so after any heavy attack. And you can also chain after them. So they feel like another move in your arsenal. Sadly, I can't showcase this in training, so I just had to hop into a custom Dominion match. I'll show you real quick. You see that? I heavy attack into the feet pistol shot, which then chained into another heavy, which is considered, by the way, I think a chain finisher, meaning I was also uninterruptible. That's crazy fun to me. That's a simple idea, to be honest, but it looks so cool. Look. How cool is that? And it's not just pistol shots, also her bomb attacks, let's say, flow real good. Like, let's see if I can showcase this maybe against someone else. Like, check this out. She jumps back mid-chain when using those attacks, meaning she also kind of gets out of the way. By the way, yeah, they are also chain starters, as you've just seen. This is such a cool concept, which I wish so much was reworked into the rest of the heroes. I really wish we could have this level of feats being intertwined with the actual moveset of the character of the hero for all other heroes. I think that would be great. I think this is the right way to go with feats. At the same time, it kinda begs the question of why even have other feats at this point. Like, it's gonna feel like you're gimping yourself in a way, or you might not, because for example, I don't know, Tireless is pretty good, Bloodlust is pretty good, whatever, but you're gonna feel like you're missing a part of the fun moveset, even if less strong, fun moveset of the character. So I don't know about that one. This is a great idea that I would even expand upon to be honest. So this is a little out there. Let me preface by saying that fighting games in general have a almost all fighting games, which with the exception of Smash Brothers probably, which comes to mind, have a meter mechanic, which is this bar which fills up by, I don't know, hitting your opponent, blocking perfectly, taking damage even, whatever. It varies from game to game. You can then spend this meter to do stuff. I've been playing a lot of Guilty Gear. That's a game where you can spend meter in a lot of funny, creative ways, and it really adds to the depth and fun of the game. Now, For Honor, being a sort of fighting game bastard child in a way, and I mean that in the best of ways, they tried doing something similar with Renown. Renown is this meter that fills up, which allows you to do stuff throughout the game. The main difference lies in the fact that Renown always goes up, you never spend it. It goes up, and once it's maxed, it's maxed. And the thing where they touched upon is, instead of having, you know, an unlimited amount of these moves you can perform by spending meter, they added long cooldowns to them. So you shoot your armor piercing slug, you can shoot it after what, I don't know, like 60 seconds, 90 seconds, I don't know exactly. And that's a fine solution, to be honest. These feats are very powerful, and a long cooldown is needed, to be honest. But what if the game was to be reworked in a more standard fighting game way, where you have this meter which builds up, and you can use it to, you know, just like in a fighting game, to use these attacks, which chain seamlessly into your combos now, into your regular moveset. That would add, well, first of all, some needed depth to some character. The movesets can feel a little samey, especially after so many new characters have come out since the game's release, and this is something which I might touch upon in another video separately, but every time that the developers tried taking risks in this game, gameplay-wise, like Shinobi, like, I don't know, Highlander, it never really worked out in the end, so they kinda, understandably so, went back to more safe and samey designs with, you know, kind of the same chains. Everyone has an undodgeable, dodge attack, there's armor here and there, but nothing really stands out too much about this character now. That's just my opinion, but again, this might be talked about in another video. But what if you reworked every character to have these 4 moves, which of course would need to be reworked almost completely, to flow into the moveset, be less oppressive, obviously, and you could spend meter on them. Like, meter could be built by, I don't know, parrying correctly, or by dodging, by landing attacks, whatever. There's some problems to these, of course. I don't want to talk too much details, like, for example, rounds last way too short in For Honor, so maybe you could have this meter carry over between rounds, and damage is also very high. Also, there's all sort of problems, of course. This is just a quick idea I'm throwing out there, which I think would be pretty cool though, and also I think would make for a way to translate feats into 1v1 and 2v2, which I think would be fun, to be honest. But just my 2 cents. Sorry, I kind of devolved into this other talk while talking of the new hero, Pirate. Pretty cool hero. I've already pointed at what I like, what I dislike. I will have a fashion video soon after this one, probably the day after, I don't know, it depends. And I hope you will enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hear what you think of her, and I'll see you all next time. Hope you have a good day.